Hey guys, Bushcraft 412 here, and I've been packing up. I finally have purchased a home, so I'm around the house here packing this weekend, getting ready to move. Nice little place out of the suburbs finally, a beautiful farmhouse with a big two-story barn. So I was packing up and I ran into something in the basement from my old mountain bike, which is an old inner tube I never used. So actually I found a couple of them, and I figured I'd take a little break from packing and show you real quick Ranger bands and kind of the stuff you can do with Ranger bands and repurposing old inner tubes from like motorcycles, bicycles, wheelbarrows, whatever. And it's really easy. All you need is an inner tube and the scissors, and cut them up to the size and shape you want and make yourself Ranger bands. And what Ranger bands are pretty much they're usually used to secure gear together or to create a grip for items or to protect items. Many different uses. It's all kind of up to your own imagination. And before we get going too far on this, guys, I just got to say I'm going to be doing the drawing on my jet boil giveaway in about maybe 2 hours. So if you got any last minute entries, get them in. Alright, now let's show what I did here. First of all, one of the great uses of Ranger bands is to use them for a grip for an item. Here is one of my flashlights. And as you can see, you can very easily put these on. Turn them into, this one's a little long, it's got to be trimmed down, but you can turn them into rubberized grips for your gear. That's one good use for these things. And they're on pretty good too. They stay on pretty tough. Another good use is, say you have a nice multi-tool or something like that, you can use these as a way to protect it inside your backpack, or say you have a bug out bag or whatever, and you have a really, say you have a nice knife with a great finish or something like that and you want to protect it, you can put them inside of pieces of inner tube to protect them. This one here is a little big for this one. I mean, not that it's going to fall out. The rubber holds very good, but a little slack, but I'd get a slightly smaller tube for this one if I were going to use this. But great way to protect your gear. And the last and final, of course, the Ranger bands can be used as a grip for, this is not the best knife to be adding it to because it doesn't have a straight, but it can give you that extra rubberized grip. You can use multiple layers to build up a handle that you don't like, that's maybe too thin for your hands. You can use multiple layers to build them up, but good way to add a rubberized grip to a knife is by cutting a piece of inner tube like that. And let's get into the actual small ones, because you can make these any size. I have some. Zoom out a little here, hopefully. I have some, like this one here, I made for an axe handle. Some smaller ones I'm going to use for some of my, maybe machetes. And all the way down to these little guys. And how these little guys typically are used, and as you can see, this knife isn't going to be the best example, because it already has a ferro rod in the case, but typically what these are used for is attaching gear to your gear, or to your other gear. Basically, you just put them over, and they're very stretchy. The bicycle inner tube ones are really good, and then you use that to hold gear in. Use your imagination here. This one's already got one in, but if it didn't, you would just, use that to hold the gear in place. As you can see, it is not going anywhere. So this can be used as a way to attach gear, add items to your gear like lighters, whatnot. As you can see, I cut these things, I cut up a whole inner tube, and we have all different sizes. I cut some really tiny, some a little bit bigger, all different shapes and sizes. I'm going to put these in a Ziploc bag in the basement, that way I have them if I need them for different purposes. And one of the cool things I do want to show you is just how strong these things really are, because they look like, geez, it's just a rubber band kind of thing. Now, the bigger ones, you cannot, I'm going to actually try and break this. I can't break it on camera, I'd have to really yeah, it's not going to break on camera. Not unless I were to probably stand up or, you know, get some good leverage on it. But very strong. Very good use for slingshots. A lot of people do use bicycle inner tubes for slingshots. Even these really thin ones are very difficult to break, and they stretch quite a ways, as you're going to see here. And they go off. When they go, they really snap. Really difficult to grip them. Very strong. Great survival item. Great item for organizing your gear, keeping gear together. Especially when you have little things like fire steels and lighters, things like that that you might lose. It's very easy to attach them to other pieces of gear. I know people sometimes use them as key silencers. You put them over your keys to keep your keys quiet while you're walking, say if you are like police or anything like that. I have seen them used in that manner, and I believe, I wish I could credit the guy for the video, but there is a video on YouTube of someone using Ranger bands as fire starter. They are rubber and they light very easy, so they are something you can use as a fire starter, and they put off a really black nasty smoke, so you could also use them as a signal device as well. So just to kind of show you what one bicycle inner tube gets you, you know, bicycle inner tube costs you a couple of bucks, and that's enough to do, you know, 5-10 knives, a couple of axes, maybe a couple of hatchets, and then have tons of various sized Ranger bands left over just to play with. So cool little thing to mess around with, guys, and a neat way to repurpose an item. Say you do have a bike with a flat tire, great way to repurpose. And like I said, you can use anything. You can use motorcycles, wheelbarrow tires, different sizes, different shapes. Generally, you know, you can cut them, but also, you know, the diameters, they have bigger and smaller. The bicycle ones are very good for knife handles, hatchets, things like that. They're not going to fit something small like a Mora, but larger knives like a K-bar or something like that, these will actually cover the handles very well. So, hope you enjoyed, and I'll be doing that drawing for the JetBlue in a couple hours, so hopefully we'll see a couple last-minute entries.